What would you do if a harmless, simple cold, something you'd never think twice about, suddenly turns into a soul-shattering experience that will take away your physical parts, a nightmare that would end up taking part of your face and all 4 limbs? This might sound shocking, but something similar happened to Alex Lewis, a self-proclaimed carefree guy with a love for life, his young son, and just enjoying the little things. The common cold he faced took away nearly everything. His arms, his legs, part of his face. His entire world was turned upside down. And yet, even after losing so much, Alex made a choice to face these atrocities of life and not become a picture of dejection and misery. What Alex went through, how he survived, and what he made of his life afterward is nothing short of extraordinary. But as you'll see, this is more than a story of survival. It's about love, resilience, and rediscovering what it means to be alive. It all started back in 2013. Alex Lewis, then in his mid-30s, was a carefree and fun-loving guy. He described himself as a feckless young man, someone who lived for the present, enjoyed his golf, the occasional drink, and the precious moments with his 2-year-old son, Sam. Family and friends who knew him always describe him as a person full of life and a little bit reckless, in the way that so many of us are in our youth. Nothing in his life foreshadowed what was about to happen. In November of that year, everything was about to change for Alex, as he came down with what seemed to be just a bad cold. It was that time of year, after all, and his partner Lucy joked it was just man flu. They both brushed it off. After all, their little boy Sam had a cold too, and Alex, young and healthy, would bounce back in no time, or so they thought. But then, things took a strange and terrifying turn. Within days, Alex's symptoms intensified in ways that defied logic. His skin began to turn an unsettling shade of purple. His fever soared, and he became delirious. That simple cold was morphing into something far more sinister, something neither Alex nor Lucy could have ever prepared for. Blood started appearing in his urine, a sight that would send shivers down anyone's spine. This wasn't just a cold, and Alex and Lucy knew they needed help fast. Lucy recalls that Saturday night with a chill. She remembers thinking that Alex might not survive the night. She dialed for an ambulance, and within minutes, they were speeding to the hospital. By the time they arrived, doctors had identified the silent monster that had taken hold of Alex's body. It was a streptococcal infection that had spiraled into blood poisoning and organ failure. It was as if his own body was turning against him, shutting down organ by organ, in a terrifying, unstoppable sequence. In that moment, Lucy was asked to do the unimaginable, to say goodbye. Doctors immediately put Alex on life support. His kidneys were failing, and every second counted. Alex was slipping further away into a darkness that few ever returned from. But something in him held on, and against the odds, Alex pulled through, though his battle was only just beginning. When he woke from a week-long coma, Alex was a shadow of his former self. His body had been ravaged by the infection. To save his life, doctors had to amputate his legs from the thighs down, and his left arm. The infection had even crept up to his face, forcing them to remove part of it to stop the spread. The shock of waking up to this reality was incomprehensible. In a matter of days, Alex had gone from being an active, vibrant young man to a shell of his former self, unable to move, unable to recognize the person he saw in the mirror. One of the hardest parts for Alex wasn't just the physical loss, but the way it changed his relationship with his son, Sam. The infection and the surgeries had altered his appearance so drastically that he was nearly unrecognizable. His son, once so close to him, was now scared to even look at him, let alone kiss him. Alex yearned for that kiss, that small gesture of love and familiarity, but Sam's fear was all too real. For a father, there are few things more heartbreaking than feeling distanced from your own child. But even in the face of this, Alex held on. The doctors tried their best to save his right arm, working tirelessly to restore whatever mobility they could, knowing it could mean the difference between complete dependency and a chance at an independent life. For months, Alex endured one surgery after another. His body was cut open, sewn back together, and cut open again. A grueling process that tested not only his physical strength but his will to live. Finally, in the spring of 2014, the right arm, which had endured so much, could endure no more. It snapped and had to be amputated from the elbow. At that moment, Alex was completely immobilized. A man who had once loved to spend his days outdoors, playing golf and enjoying life, was now confined to a hospital bed, entirely dependent on others. Many of us would have crumbled under the weight of such loss. And, indeed, Alex had to go through these moments of despair. Throughout his worst time, Alex had Lucy by his side. Her presence and support were the anchor that kept him from drifting into that despair. Lucy became his pillar, his motivator, and in the end, the reason he chose to live. Lucy never left his side, even when her friends told her she didn't have to stay, that she could walk away. She was adamant that she was in this for the long haul. Alex, too, wondered how she could still love him, questioned what she saw in him now that he had changed so drastically. But for Lucy, her love went beyond the physical. She didn't see the scars or the prosthetics. She saw Alex, the man she had always loved. Their journey together was filled with challenges, not just physically, but emotionally. They shared countless hours at the hospital, where their room became a place not of sorrow, but of laughter. They had friends who came to visit and would laugh and joke with Alex and Lucy, lightening the mood, making what could have been an unbearable experience, one that was, somehow, bearable. They even joked about the practical changes in their life. One friend's child, seeing Alex for the first time, couldn't think of anything to say except, "When are you going to finish making my skateboard ramp?" And a frugal neighbor, ever the pragmatist, inquired about all the socks Alex would no longer need. Through laughter, they survived the darkest days, but Alex's determination was about more than just surviving. He wanted to live. He wanted to be a father to Sam and a partner to Lucy. And so he set a new goal, to raise the money he needed for state-of-the-art prosthetics. With each donation that came in, he got closer to regaining some of the independence he had lost. He began to look at what he had rather than what he'd lost. His right elbow, which survived the infection, became his lifeline. That one joint allowed him to move, to eat, to do something as simple as scratch an itch. And for that, he was deeply grateful. Lucy and Alex made a pact early on. Lucy would be his partner, not his nurse. They would find a way for him to contribute to their household, to play a role beyond that of a patient. Alex threw himself into projects. He took on roles at Lucy's pub, contributing to the interior design. He began dreaming of starting a furniture design business, of creating beautiful things with his own hands. The life they were building wasn't easy, but it was theirs. For Sam, they found ways to explain the changes to his dad in a way he could understand. They told him that Alex was going to be a red Power Ranger, that his arms were coming off and being replaced by something new. For a young child, this explanation worked. To Sam, his dad was a hero, a superhero with tools. Today, Sam still looks up to his father, and in school, he's proud to tell the other kids about his dad's prosthetic tools. There were even darker days when Alex was separated from Lucy and Sam. Days when he questioned how he could go on. He admits he had moments when he hit rock bottom. But each time he found his way back, anchored by the love he shared with Lucy and the bond with his son. Every day became a gift. Every moment a second chance to be the husband and father he wanted to be. As he looks back on everything he's endured, Alex sees how much he's changed, not just physically, but emotionally and mentally. He says he fell in love with Lucy all over again. This ordeal forced him to reflect on what truly matters, and in doing so he found a purpose, a drive to live that he'd never known before. Alex Lewis's story is one of unimaginable tragedy, but it's also one of resilience, love, and redemption. He could have given up, could have surrendered to the sorrow of what he'd lost, but instead he chose to laugh, to love, and to live. He chose to find beauty in a life transformed, to cherish what remained, and to rebuild a future out of the ashes of his past. As he continues to raise funds for prosthetics that will allow him to walk, Alex is a living testament to the strength of the human spirit. And for those of us who hear his story, it's a reminder to cherish every day, to love fiercely, and to never take a single moment for granted. What would you do if everything you knew, everything you took for granted, was suddenly taken from you? Let us know down in the comment and make sure to hit the subscribe button for more stories.